What kind of tree does the word druid come from? It's the oak. Dru is the oak in Celtic.
Athens, the capital and biggest city of Greece, is named after the Greek goddess of wisdom, Athena, who was its patron goddess.
The Orion constellation took its name from the Greek legendary hunter Orion. Maori people call Orion's belt the 3 stars in the middle of the constellation, Totoru, who is also a Maori legendary hunter.
Lada
Not this!
is in Slavic mythology the goddess of love, beauty and fertility. She is one of the Slavic gods and goddesses who brings about the spring.
What kind of animal is Lord Ganesh's main mount? It's a mouse.
What kind of animal is Apep, or Apophis, the ancient Egyptians' god of chaos and disorder who dwelt in Duat, the underworld?
It's a snake.
Nanook is the master of polar bears in Inuit mythology and the god of hunting. It's up to him whether or not hunters manage to catch their prey.
Do you know the name of the Maori god of farming? It's Rongo.
What shape did the universe have in the beginning of time according to Chinese mythology? The shape of an egg.
Fujin, the Japanese god of the winds, stored the winds in a huge bag behind his back. In Odyssey, Aeolus, the Greek ruler of the winds, gave Odysseus a bag containing all the winds, except the gentle west wind which needed to carry Odysseus to Ithaca.
The first trial on Areopagus. Halirrhothius, Poseidon's son, raped Ares' daughter Alcippe. Ares, the god of war, is not generally a god who forgives, and brutally killed Halirrhothius to avenge his daughter from rape. Poseidon demanded justice for his son, and Ares was judged by the court of the gods. The female goddesses voted in favor of Ares, as they believed this murder was justified, and the Greek god of war found not guilty for the murder of Halirrhothius. And Areopagus named after Ares because he was the accused in.
Ocean is commonly called the river Orisha, or goddess, in the Yoruba religion and is typically associated with water, purity, fertility, love, and sensuality. She is considered one of the most powerful of all Orishas, and, like other gods, she possesses human attributes such as vanity, jealousy, and spite.
Have you ever wondered how the Giant's Causeway created? Geologists will tell you that it was created by intense volcanic activity in the area. As the name suggests, an Irish giant named Finn MacCumhall created the causeway to get across the Irish Sea to face his rival, the Scottish giant Benandonor. Following their fearsome meeting, Benandonor ripped up the causeway as he fled back to Scotland, leaving what you see here today. What kind of animal pulls Freya's chariot? It's pulled by 2 cats.
Kamahole, who is the chief of the shark gods in Hawaiian mythology, is Pele's brother, the goddess of fire and volcanoes who considered the guardian of the island.
Kamadeva, or Kama, is the Hindu god of human love and desire, and sometimes lust. He is often portrayed along with his female counterpart Rati. Kamadeva was son of Lord Vishnu and goddess Lakshmi. Kamadeva is represented as a young, handsome man who wields a bow and arrows. His bow is made of sugarcane, and his arrows are decorated with 5 kinds of fragrant flowers. White lotus, which create pleasing and desiring feeling. Ashoka tree flowers, which create attraction or temptation. Mango tree flowers, which create infatuation or delusion. Jasmine flowers, which create weakness or love sickness. And blue lotus flowers, which create death. In Roman mythology, Janus is the god of doors, gates, and transitions. Janus is known as the initiator of human life, transformations between stages of life, and shifts from one historical era to another. He oversees seasonal events such as planting, harvests, seasonal changes, and the new year. Janus was also present at the beginning of the world. And if you've ever wondered how the month of January got its name, you have Janus to thank. Janus is portrayed with 2 faces, one facing the past and one facing the future.
Taurid in Egyptian mythology is the goddess of fertility, childbirth, and rivers. A fierce protector of women and children. She is depicted as a bipedal female hippopotamus with feline attributes, pendulous female human breasts, the limbs and paws of a lion, and the back and tail of a Nile crocodile.
Angus, the young one, is the Celtic god of poetry and love. Inspired and crafty, he inherited much of his guile and charm from his father, the Dagda. His cunning and poetic use of language often allowed him to get the better of his elders. Angus has the ability to shapeshift, another attribute inherited from his father, and used this ability to help him find a woman that had been transformed into a swan. His magic allowed him to transform kisses into birds, animals he favored above all others.
What kind of animal pulls Thor's chariot?
It's pulled by two goats. Brahma's children multiplied but did not die. Soon the cosmos was overflowing with living beings, which alarmed Brahma, who created Mritu, the goddess of death. When informed of her duty, Mritu ran away. She relented only when told that all those she would kill would be reborn. She would kill only the material, and hence mortal component of a living being.
As we don't know what kind of dog breed Cerberus is, there are many alternatives. Here are some of them. Write in the comments what kind of breed you believe Cerberus is. Anyway, I hope we will not find out soon.
What kind of animal was the first shaman in Yanomami mythology? It was a deer.
Ukamochi in Japanese mythology is the goddess of food. She was killed by Tsukuyomi no Mikoto, the god of moon, when she gave him food from her mouth. That's pretty disgusting, but not a reason to kill anyone, I believe.
Quetzalcoatl is the Aztec goddess of hearth and smiths. She has two heads, which can be handy for crossing roads. Dodola is the Slavic goddess of rain, and the wife of the supreme god Perun, who is the god of thunder. When Dodola milks her heavenly cows, the clouds, it rains on earth. Each spring Dodola is said to fly over woods and fields, and spread vernal greenery, decorating the trees with blossoms.
Charon is the boatman of the dead in Greek mythology. Ferries the dead across the river Styx, which separates the world of the living and the dead, and every person has to give him a coin for their passage. In Yanomami mythology, a red boa is the rainbow that connects the sun and the moon to the earth. Sometimes it can turn into a man.
In the Yoruba mythology, a gemo is a chameleon that is the servant of the god Olorin, head of the Yoruba pantheon of deities, known as Orishas. A gemo carries messages between the gods. In one myth, a gemo helped his master Olorin win in a competition against Olakan, goddess of the sea. Olakan was skilled at weaving and dyeing cloth, which made her think that she was superior to all of the other Orishas, including Olorin. She challenged Olorin to a cloth-making contest to determine who was truly superior. Olorin told a gemo to ask Olakan to show him her best cloth, and if he was impressed, he would accept the challenge. A gemo, being a chameleon, was able to replicate the patterns of every piece of cloth that Olakan produced. Olakan thought that if Olorin's messenger could so easily replicate her work, she would be no match for Olorin himself, and admitted defeat.
Manananmak Lir is one of the sons of Lir, and also a sea god. He uses the ocean to protect Ireland, and has plenty of magical objects, a boat, a horse and chariot that could ride the waves, and a cloak that makes him invisible. In Norse mythology, Ratatoskr is a squirrel who runs up and down the world tree Yggdrasil to carry messages between the eagles perched atop Yggdrasil and the serpent Nidhogg, who dwells beneath one of the three roots of the tree. Apis is a very powerful bull god. Apis is a messenger between gods and men. He has a sun disk between his horns in honor of his mom, Hathor.
Parvati is a primordial goddess in Hinduism. She is the daughter of the Himalaya mountains and wife of Shiva. Beautiful and kind, she is also the mother of Ganesh and Kartikeya.
Gassi and Dietha, according to Seneca mythology, are giant serpents that dwell in the deep areas of rivers and lakes of Canada. These serpents could fly on a trail of fire, and it could also spew fire. They came from meteors crashing into the earth. They live underwater so that the sparks they shed won't set the world on fire.
Leshy are spirits that protect forests and trick humans. They could take any shape they want, but seems to prefer appearing as men with beards. They are seldom seen, but their voice can be heard in the forest laughing, whistling, or singing. What is the name of the Aztec god of corn? It's Centiatl.
Herkina is a daughter of Trophonius, and once while she was playing with Persephone, the daughter of Demeter in the grove of Trophonius near Lebedea in Boeotia, Greece, she let a goose fly away, which she carried in her hand. The bird flew into a cave and concealed itself under a block of stone. When Persephone pulled the bird forth from its hiding place, a well gushed forth from under the stone, which is called Herkina.
The earth, tired of being exploited by the kings who were supposed to be her guardians, took the form of a cow and went to her father, Brahma, for help. She wept, showed him her broken back, and complained of sore udders. Brahma directed her to Vishnu.
I will descend on earth and relieve you of your burden. You will refresh yourself with the blood of kings who milk you in greed.
Vishnu descended on earth, incarnating as Parashurama, Rama, and Krishna, and massacred the unrighteous kings and restored order to the world. The earth was finally pleased.
Tain is the god of the forests and trees. The birds are his children, and so are the fish, who used to live in the forest until they were chased into the sea by Tain's brother Tawiri, the god of the sea.
Do you know what Nike, Versace, Pandora, Goodyear, Starbucks, and Maserati have in common? Their logos or names are inspired by Greek mythology. The winged goddess of victory was known as Nike to the Greeks. Versace logo is based on Medusa, who had snakes in the place of her hair. She can turn anyone who looked at her to stone. Pandora was a woman from Greek mythology. Her name means all gifted. Therefore, the Pandora box is called after her name. It is said that when she opened the box, that all the evils of the world, all those evils were released into the world. The shoe in Goodyear's logo is the shoe of Hermes, who was the messenger god, and he was extremely fast. Starbucks logo uses a twin-tailed siren from Greek mythology. The twin-tail sirens were beautiful, but these were dangerous sea creatures also. They were known for their beauty and melodious music by which they lured seamen and sailors into death. Maserati created its trident logo after a mythical fountain of Poseidon.
The Muses in Greek mythology are the inspirational goddesses of literature, science, and the arts. They are considered the source of the knowledge embodied in the poetry, lyric songs, and myths. The word museum means shrine to the Muses. They are 9. Calliope, the muse of epic poetry. Clio, the muse of history. Polyhymnia, the muse of hymn. Euterpe, the muse of music. Terpsichore, the muse of light, verse, and dance. Erato, the muse of lyric choral poetry. Melpomene, the muse of tragedy. Thalia, the muse of comedy. Urania, the muse of astronomy.
Do you know Rudra? Rudra in Hinduism is the roarer, god of storms and a fierce hunter. Rudra is praised as the mightiest of the mighty. He shoots arrows at everyone when he's in a bad mood. Rudra means who eradicates problems from their roots.
Suijin is the Shinto god of water in Japanese mythology. The term Suijin refers to the heavenly and earthly manifestations of the benevolent Shinto divinity of water. It also refers to a wide variety of mythological and magical creatures found in lakes, ponds, springs, and wells, including serpents, snakes, dragons, eels, fish, and turtles. The Shinto water god is believed to be the guardian of fishermen and the patron saint of fertility, motherhood, and painless childbirth. People worship Suijin with offerings, believing that doing so will ensure pure and unpolluted water for drinking, agriculture, and sanitation, and will bring success in fishing trips, fertility, motherhood, and easy childbirth.
Aganju in the Yoruba mythology is the Orisha of volcanoes. He is said to walk with a sword and is said to fight by shooting fire. Like the volcano, Aganju is noted for his legendary strength and his ability to bring about drastic change.
Kamapwa is a hogman fertility superhuman, a kupua, which is demigod in Hawaiian mythology. He was born to human parents, Kahikiula and Hina, on Oahu. He's recorded as having one brother, Kahikihonu-Akele. Growing up, Kamapua'a was never accepted by his stepfather Olopana. This hurt Kamapua'a because he wanted his father to love him and be proud of him, but Olopana never showed any love and mocked instead. Kamapua'a grew with anger and let rage take over his soul. This led to his reputation of being mischievous and rascal. Kamapua'a is best known for his romantic pursuit of the fire goddess Pele, with whom he shared a turbulent relationship. Despite Pele's power, Kamapua'a's persistence allows him to turn her lava rock into fertile soil.
This is Chu Jung, a legendary Chinese emperor, who is also called the Red Emperor. But why? In his youth, he asked Guangzhou Lao Zhen, known as Old Longevity, to grant him immortality. The time has not yet come, replied Old Longevity. Before it does, you have to become an emperor. The emperor, Xian Yuan, having abdicated the throne, sent for Chu Jung and bestowed upon him the crown. Chu Jung, having become emperor, taught the people the use of fire and the advantages to be derived from it. In those early times, the forests were filled with venomous reptiles and savage animals. He ordered the peasants to set fire to the brushwood to drive away these dangerous neighbors and keep them at a distance. He also taught his subjects the art of purifying, forging, and welding metals by the action of fire. He was nicknamed Chi Ti, the Red Emperor. He reigned for more than 200 years and became an immortal. His descendants, who went to live in the south, were the ancestors of the Directors of Fire.
Here's a riddle from African folklore, and specifically the people of Hausa in West Africa. A certain man was running away from his village, and he was taking with him all his property. This consisted of a leopard, a goat, and a yam. Now in time he came to a river where there was only one canoe. It was so small that it was impossible for him to take more than one part of his property with him at a time. Now how did he succeed in getting it all to the other side? If he left the yam with the goat, or the leopard with the goat would eat the yam, or the leopard devour the goat. The answer is, he took the goat over first and then the yam. He then recrossed the goat and ferried over the leopard, returning a fourth time for the goat. Did you know it?
How Norse mythology teaches us not to chain animals.
Let me introduce you Fenrir, the wolf, one of Loki and Angerboda's offspring. The gods tricked him into being chained up, and then he bit Tyr's hand off. He will be tied until the Ragnarok, when he will break his bonds and fall upon the gods. According to one version of the myth, Fenrir will devour the sun, and in the Ragnarok he will fight against the chief god Odin and swallow him. So think carefully before you chain animals.
Do you know how to defend yourself from Iwa, the demon from Cherokee folklore? Iwa lives deep in the forests and is highly despised due to his hideous demeanor and insanity. His character is portrayed to be nightmarishly ugly, and his traits are similar to a maniac. He is also known to cause nightmares to children and feed on their dreams. It is believed that merely looking at Ewa, the demon, can make a person insane. The tool of defense is the wampus mask, which is made of a bobcat's preserved head. Interestingly enough, Iwa is scared of the wampus, which is a panther beast with supernatural powers. According to legend, Iwa troubled and slaughtered several lives of Cherokee villages. A brave Cherokee warrior stood up to rescue his people and began his quest to find the horrid demon. As he passed through the forest, he was killed by the demon. Iwa was eventually killed by a woman named Running Deer and happened to be the slaughtered warrior's wife. Running Deer got hold of a wampus mask and wore it while facing the demon.
This is a quaternary Celtic knot. But do you know what it symbolizes? This symbol is significant mainly because of its four-corner and four-segment designs, which represented cyclical paths. The ancient Celts believed that it was a link between eternity and nature. It showcases the cultural heritage of the Celtic people. The four sides represent the four-season calendar and the location of the east, west, north, and south. It also depicts the earth, air, water, and fire. The Celts were known for their high level of creativity. This particular symbol seems to have existed for more than 2,000 years. It represents the symbol of spirituality, favor charm, literature, art, and cultural heritage. It symbolizes good luck and protection. The four corners represent wisdom, hearth, head, and heart.
Do you know how Milky Way got its name? Well, let's travel back in time through a fascinating tale from Greek mythology. Zeus was fond of his son, Heracles, who was born of the mortal woman Alcmene. He decided to let the infant Heracles suckle on his divine wife, Hera's milk, when she was asleep, an act which would endow the baby with godlike qualities. When Hera woke up and realized that she was breastfeeding an unknown infant, she pushed him away, and the spurting milk became the Milky Way.
Edinburgh is a city of ghosts. You wouldn't be hard-pressed to find haunting stories in the capital of Scotland, with its subterranean streets and fascinating, but oftentimes grim, history. Edinburgh Castle has passed from hand to hand throughout Scottish history, often with great bloodshed involved in these battles. It was 1650 when the mysterious drummer was first sighted, circling the central courtyard of the castle, round and round and round, rat-tat-tatting on his drum. On closer inspection, frightened castle servants would observe that the unknown young boy had no head. Too afraid to approach him, they left him in the courtyard to continue his playing, and he drummed his steady march straight through the night and vanished come morning. What the castle staff had not realized at the time was that his ghostly appearance was a warning. For that same year, Oliver Cromwell invaded Scotland and captured Edinburgh Castle after the Lang Siege. The drummer boy has not been seen since, but staff in the castle have reported hearing the gentle pat-pat-pat of his drums from quiet corners in the dead of night. Legend has it that if ever he is seen again, ill luck is to fall upon the historic castle just as it did in 1650.
The Ennead, or Great Ennead, is a group of 9 deities in Egyptian mythology worshipped at Heliopolis, the city of the sun in ancient Egypt. The sun god Adam, the primordial god from whom all else arose, his children Shu, god of peace, lions, air, and wind, and Tefnut, goddess of moisture, moist air, dew, and rain. Their children Geb, god of earth, and Nut, goddess of the sky, stars, cosmos, mothers, astronomy, and the universe. Their children Osiris, the god of fertility, agriculture, the afterlife, the dead, resurrection, life, and vegetation. Isis, goddess of healing and magic. Set, god of deserts, storms, disorder, violence, and foreigners. And Nephthys, the goddess of death, decay, and darkness, but also a magician with great healing powers. Did you know that the planet Mars has 2 moons called Phobos and Deimos? But how did the moons take their names? And how is it connected with mythology? The planet Mars is named after the Roman god of war, who is the equivalent of the Greek god of war Ares. And now let's see who Phobos and Deimos are. In Greek mythology, Deimos and Phobos are the gods or personified spirits of fear. Deimos represents terror and dread, while his brother Phobos is panic, flight, and rout. They are sons of the war god Ares, who accompany their father into battle, driving his chariot and spreading fear in his wake. As sons of Aphrodite, goddess of love, the twins also represent fear of loss.
Surya, the sun god in Hinduism, rides a chariot driven by Garuda's brother Aruna, who must be a great driver as the chariot only has one wheel. Surya is the father of many notable sons, including Manu, progenitor of the human race, Yama, god of the dead, the Ashvins, twin physicians to the gods, Karna, a great warrior in the Mahabharata, and Sugriva, king of the monkeys in the Ramayana. The Puranas, collections of Hindu myths and legends, record that the weapons of the gods were forged from pieces trimmed from Surya, whose full emanation was too bright to bear. His power was conceived of as dispelling darkness, curing disease, and heating and illuminating the world. Surya's synonym Ravi is the root of the word Ravivara, or Sunday in the Hindu calendar. In both Indian and Greek Roman nomenclature for days of the week, the Sunday is dedicated to the sun. Do you know what Vadavani is? Vadavani is a submarine fire embodied in the form of a destructive being in Hinduism. It is described to be a being that manifested with the head of a mare, but a body of blazing flame. But how did it come into being? It is said that Shiva saw that the world was becoming filled with evil. Upset by this, Shiva wanted to cleanse the world and restore it to become pure and safe once more. He opened his third eye, and from it, a great fire began to fall upon the earth. Not wanting to see the earth she had created burn away, Sarasvati took action to save the world. She took form upon the earth in the shape of a river, which allowed her to absorb the fire. This river, which is known as the Sarasvati River, connected to the sea and helped Sarasvati move the fire from the river to the water. As she did not want to upset or go against Shiva, Sarasvati turned the fire into Vadavani, the fire-spitting creature.
A nymph from Greek mythology, Charitia is said to be one of the triple muses of divination at Delphi. She is one of the naiads and one of a trio of nymphs known collectively as the Three-Eye. By the god Apollo, she gave birth to a son named Lycoris. The Charitian cave located above Delphi and figures heavily in Delphian myth is named for her. It is where the priestess attempted conception rituals.
Do you know who Ajatar is? In Finnish folklore, Ajatar or Ajatara is a demonic female spirit said to be the mother of the devil. She lives in the woods, and she is described as having hair plait reached to her heels and whose breasts hung down to her knees. She is often depicted in modern art as a dragon or half-humanoid and serpentine figure. She breastfeeds serpents and spreads disease and pestilence. If a person sees her, they will instantly fall ill,